Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Ballin Out live for the first time this season. Coming to you guys. The trade deadline was just today, and ended at 3 p.m. So we're gonna give our live reactions and go into a deeper dive. Biggest winners, losers, trade grades, and things of that matter. Talk about how each team has gone through this trade deadline. I mean, y'all might think differently, but I didn't think too highly of this year's trade deadline. It wasn't all that, but we will end up seeing what ends up going on here. So it should be good discussions for sure. So let's start off, kick it off. Well, first, before we start, I wanna talk about the guys that didn't get traded. So Giannis Antetokounmpo and John Morant were two of the biggest names that did not end up getting traded. What are you guys' thoughts on that? And what do you think is the next steps for both of those guys?
Well, yeah, I was specifically shocked with Ja, especially seeing, Jaren Jackson get moved. It was kind of like, okay, here's like the final pieces of their tanking for real now. They're gonna acquire some picks, they're gonna do all this. And he was just the one. I don't know if it was his trade. I don't know. Again, right now the trade market for John Morant, we know it's not good. I'm dying to see what some of those offers were, but kind of shocked as they just didn't just do something just to kind of move on. Obviously, we know that team assembled back in the day, basically all of them gone. Jaren Jackson, John Moran, Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, all those guys, like the team that never really even got started. So it was like I was kind of expecting just to see them just get rid of all of those pieces from the past, kind of move on, get right in the off season, and kind of make some moves, but they just didn't. That one definitely shocked me more. And I know Giannis, he's been just his name has been floated out there for I mean, how long now? It's been forever. I mean, not even just this season. Got flashed a couple of years ago, a year ago, whatnot. And so with that one, I mean, they're really just they got to be waiting just for like the perfect offer or something of that nature. Because that one, with just how much talk was going into that, everyone assumed it was just a matter of when. And kind of, I think some pieces maybe for this offseason, for maybe why kind of Sean, what you were saying, maybe it wasn't so crazy. I think some people were waiting to see what happened with Giannis. I think some people kind of want to see what ended up happening there before actually pulling the trigger. So the fact that that didn't happen, I think, actually has more of an impact on some of those other teams um, that didn't pull the trigger, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on especially those two, like we mentioned.
Yeah, I honestly with Giannis, it's kind of just like a little. I don't even know if it's disappointing. It's just more like anticlimactic because they've been talking about this for over a year now, and I don't really know in terms of. I mean, is does this just set up them getting rid of him in the off season? Like, I feel like you only really had a handful of teams looking to get rid of him or trade for him. And it's like, I don't know how much better of a trade package you're going to get in the offseason compared to now. I mean, if they really didn't find anything that they wanted, then I guess so. But if I were other teams, it's kind of just like, why did you drag this thing out for so long? Make it known that you want to trade them, you want to do all these things, and then just to say, "Oh, we're gonna keep them." Like I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe it's just like the fan, obviously in me that wanted to see him go somewhere else. Because I don't know now if he's even gonna really play the rest of the season. I mean, if I were Milwaukee, I wouldn't play him just because you don't want him to get hurt again, and it's like then you're even lowering his value more for the offseason. But yeah, Giannis, I feel like obviously he's gonna be talked about now for the rest of the season still about going into the off season. What are they gonna do? But with Milwaukee, it's just kind of like they've kind of shown that they're not interested in being any sort of contender. It seems like now for the rest of the season. Uh,
yeah.
but I did put down at least Ryan Rollins is who.
Yeah, that's
So
facts.
uh, I mean they have like a couple. interesting pieces. I don't really know. I guess it makes the Miles Turner signing even a little more like interesting just because it's like you signed him in hopes to keep Giannis and stay competitive. Now that you are not going to do that, or I mean, you kept him, but are you like, I don't know, is he really going to be a Buck for life now, or is this just going to happen again in 3-4 months where more trade rumors go around? But I don't know. I saw Giannis. He was posting on his Instagram. He posted that meme from The Wolf of Wall Street where he's like,
I did see that.
"I'm not effing
I'm
leaving."
not, I'm not leaving.
That was funny, but it's like I don't know. Giannis is whack. Uh, Ja though, the Grizzlies are. It's sad, man. I feel like Sean. I was thinking about when we went and we were watching them play in the playoffs in like 2021
Hmm.
against. It was either the Warriors or they were playing against someone, but it was like that first round matchup. It's when they had Bane, they had Jaren, that whole squad, Tyus, like they were doing their dances pregame, all this stuff, and now it's just like, and like no more parade inside the city.
Yeah.
No more parade. They still got Ja, I guess. Uh, I kind of feel like they're another team. It's like, what were they expecting? You know.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the Jaren stuff too.
Yeah. No, it was I mean, just the jaw situation. It was like you said, Nate. Like they've been shopping him, for this long time, and they had that culture, with Desmond Bain and Dylan Brooks and JJJ, and you thought that they was on the come up, possibly one of these young teams that could maybe do something, and then yeah, they kind of like all tore it down. So like that was surprising to me that he wasn't moved, but at the same time, it's like I could see like his value kind of declined a little bit after all of his like stuff that went down. His off the court stuff. It was pretty bad. So that I feel like kind of hurt him a little bit. But I mean, other than that, like, yeah, he's still a player. I think for me personally, I just see him as like he's already reached his peak. So like teams already know like what you're gonna get from him, right? He's not like an outside shooter. He's more of a dry and kick it guy. He's gonna dunk on you, of course. But other than that, what else are you gonna get from him, right? Defense is not really up there. So yeah, no, it'll be interesting what ends up happening in the offseason. And then on the Giannis front, I don't know. It's been the same thing. That has been happening. I feel like over the past couple of years, like yeah, I want to be loyal to the Bucks and all this stuff, but then it's like you're gonna stay terrible, and it doesn't help that Glenn Rivers is still the coach there, and I think this all kind of started once they fired Adrian Griffin. They fired Adrian Griffin, and then all of a sudden, they were, I forget the exact record, but they had a winning record, and then they fired Adrian Griffin, and kind of went downhill from there. So yeah, it'll be
I mean,
interesting to
dude,
see.
I don't think I think this shows too that I mean, yeah, Giannis said he wanted Doc Rivers, but I don't think he's their coach next season.
No,
Like, I, they don't really have any direction with him. I think. I mean,
Dude, Doc Rivers is not coaching in the NBA. He'll be coaching the Wongdong Tigers, bro. Like we've
he
already
needs to
seen.
go. He
He's
needs to
not.
go do what his son's doing and just become a sideline reporter. That's what he needs to do for real.
Had to. It's only fair for him, honestly.
Yeah,
Coaching ain't
yeah.
his thing. I don't think it's ever really been his thing.
No,
yeah.
no. So now we'll see. But yeah, so let's get into the before we break down each team. We got some comments talking about Pistons moves and things like that. We'll get to that, but winners and losers real quick. Who are you guys as winners of the trade deadline this year?
So yeah, I can start. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Grant.
So yeah, so I mean, I really like what the Wizards did. I'm not gonna lie. I think the Wizards are actually trying to play some real basketball this time. Like they're actually putting some of the pieces together. They're getting rid of some of their picks and all that. And we'll get into exactly that trade specifically. Acquiring Anthony Davis and all of that. But uh, the fact that they were able to do that, kind of put some of the pieces together, along with the Trae Young acquisition that they had in the past there. putting some other younger guys, D'Lo, Dante Exum, something like that. It is going to be actually decent for them to kind of start playing some better basketball now, hopefully. And yeah, at the end of the day, if the Wizards, if they still just continue to tank and they can acquire a good draft pick, they're just going to get that much better then. And I think for them, this was like the perfect time to do so. You had some of these pieces you could move. Obviously, Chris Middleton, he was just kind of renting the space there. We knew he probably wasn't going to be sticking around. So yeah, in my opinion, I would say them. And then just another team I would kind of say for sure is even though the Thunder didn't do a whole lot, I think they did exactly what they needed to do, which was perfect in the sense that you had way too much draft capital. We all know that. Let's get something useful out of it in the sense that they were able to get kind of, I mean, I know obviously he hasn't been great this year. He's been, going in the G League and back and forth here. But Jerry McCain, I mean, if you take away his injury kind of riddled rookie season, he was a stud.
Yeah.
So I think kind of, I don't know, maybe the 76ers know a little bit more too with like his injury status and all of that. But I mean, younger guy that really the Thunder, all they need is just an outside shot. Isaiah Joe, he's been okay. You got some of these guys that can knock it down. Jared McCain can be a backup point guard to Shea, which that's all you need. You don't need a starting point guard. You don't need any of that. You just need a backup, just spot up shooter. So I think for that, they got rid of some of their picks, which really wasn't much at all. A couple second rounders, 3 second rounders or something, I believe. At the end of the day, that's nothing for them when they have so many other picks. And so yeah, I would say they're kind of like a low key kind of winner from this uh, trade deadline.
Interesting. Interesting.
Fellas, I'll be back
Nate,
in just 2 seconds. Keep going though. I'm sorry.
All
Nate,
right.
who's your winners, bro? Who's your winners?
First winner, I'd say the Charlotte Hornets. Um, I think them being able to get Kobe White for some second round picks and Sexton was a nice pickup for them. I think, although obviously they're not really in contention for anything right now, they're slowly kind of building on something with their backcourt now. Um, I think they made another move as well. Let me see again. What was it? But I mean, Kobe White, he was a guy who's supposed to be traded a couple seasons ago. But I like that fit in Charlotte. Another team, the Jazz, obviously. I think them being able to get Jaren is a big pickup for them. It'll be interesting how Kessler comes back next season.
Mm.
But I think them keeping Markkinen is going to be big for them. And them being able to move forward with kind of like this younger core and add in Jaren, who obviously as defensive player of the year in the past. I think they got Lonzo Ball, which I mean,
If he stays on the team,
if he stays on a team, I saw he might get waived,
yeah.
He might get waived.
but I mean, I think I'm trying to think of another team. I think losers. What's it called? The Warriors. I don't like the Kuminga trade. Don't really know what Porzingis is gonna do.
Nothing. I mean, they
If
just
they even
wasted the
keep
last
him.
couple of years of Steph Curry's career now. Like
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
nobody for him. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, they're gonna be poverty. I think another team that kind of didn't do much would be team. I don't even think they made a trade, but the Miami Heat. Um, they were
They are
supposed
my
to.
they are my biggest loser. They're my biggest
Yeah, I
loser of
mean,
this.
they were supposed to be in the Josh sweepstakes. I don't think they even offered anything. Um, do they even have like what were they waiting for? I guess, but yeah, I there's a couple more teams. Sean, go ahead. Let me see yours. The Lakers getting rid of Gabe Vincent. That's a W. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that's a W.
I was waiting for it.
Thank the Lord for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
I
give
don't
him
know
the
I
what
was
they've
waiting
respect.
done
for
with
it.
Kennard, but no, the Lakers, they're going to be kind of interesting for the rest of the year because of obviously having LeBron and Luca. but will their defense be able to do anything? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, so thinking about it, I do have a winner, and shout out my boy Brendan. He asked about Pistons moves. Pistons, I do see as a winner. You know, a lot of people may be feeling some different type of way, but you know about trading Jaden Ivey. You know, but the Pistons, I feel like we addressed what they needed to. You know, they needed shooting. And it's kind of the way I see it is kind of like how we did it last year, where we had Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. Now you got Duncan Robinson and Kevin Huerter. They may give you a couple of other like inside shots and defense at times, but they're mostly there for their 3-point shooting. So that just takes more pressure off Cade. So I do like that move. We'll get more into that. My losers, though. Here we go. So you mentioned Miami Heat didn't do anything at all. Confusing. Shout out Gavin. I think you're still in the chat here. Your Sacramento Kings, terrible. They are the probably biggest loser, more than Miami. Even though Miami didn't make a move, the Sacramento Kings, they've been talking about trading Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. They made nothing. And what they get, they traded Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder for DeAndre Hunter. Why they traded for DeAndre Hunter, I mean, who knows? But I just that doesn't make sense to me when you already have DeMar, Zach LaVine. You still got Keegan Murray. So that one was kind of iffy. Another loser for me too, like you said, the Warriors. Yeah, you can say what you want about Golden State, but I feel like they just how is Porzingis, Al Horford, Draymond Green gonna help Stephen Curry? Like Al Horford is giving you 5 points maybe. Porzingis, is he gonna play? Um, you know, but I think my biggest, and Grant, you mentioned the Wizards as a winner. I see them as a loser. I'll tell you why I see them as a loser. Yes, the tandem of Anthony Davis and Trae Young looks great on paper, and we've talked about this before. Looks great on paper, right? And they possibly could have, a top 8 pick. It could look great. But here's my thing. Why is it that we are trading all this for Anthony Davis when we don't even know if Anthony Davis can be on the court? He was on the Mavericks for a calendar year and barely even played. He had more injuries than months in the calendar year. So, I mean, man got hurt in the eye, out for like 10 games. It hurt his pinky finger, out for 10 games. Like, come on, man. I just don't... Yes, it may have been good for the Wizards at this time, but to me, it just doesn't make sense that you go from this, we're rebuilding, we're in this rebuild, now all of a sudden we're going to pivot and go get old Anthony Davis who can't even stay on the court for 20 plus games. So, doesn't make sense to me. And another was real quick, New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans didn't do anything. They talked about trading Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, and didn't do anything. And there's like, oh yeah, he's played like 25 straight games, the longest in his career, and I think Joe Dumars was satisfied with that. And then I saw something, I don't know how true it is, but I saw something that he believes that the Pelicans are a playoff team. I don't know how you have 13 wins this year, and next year you're going to come back with pretty much the same team and think you're a playoff team. So I don't know, what's Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars doing? I'm not sure, but it was a long list of losers for me, but more losers for me than winners at this deadline. And I said it to start, to me it wasn't the biggest thing. So
I mean,
I
with
could,
the
yeah,
Wizards though, they they don't have like the worst. I feel like they still got better, to be honest. Like
yeah, yeah,
they at least they at least went from the veterans of Middleton and CJ to Trey Young and AD now. Like at least they have something for next season to kind of look forward to. I think with adding AD, yes, there's always that question of will he stay healthy, but they're gonna have to figure out too because I think he's due for a contract extension pretty soon here. Like
Yeah.
I would say just let his contract ride out and then from there try to re up before you extend anything. But he'll at least maybe give Sar some good knowledge, maybe a little development. But yeah, they're gonna be a team that's obviously looking to still win a top pick this season. I mean, if they add a Darren Peterson or Boozer or Demonsta, I think they'll have a nice little team next year. But it all depends too. I feel like the Wizards, they're not obviously great at drafting talent or
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't been good
so.
historically.
But no, yeah, go ahead, Grant.
Well, just because, yeah, another thing too, I will say is like basically, I think the Wizards just took all of like the bad players that they had, like all the Chris Middle, like Marvin Bagley, all this other just kind of junk, if you will, kind of dumped their contracts, and they took on like D'Lo's and Dante Exums. The reason I like it so much is you're talking like a $5 million and $2 million contract. Those are nothing. The AD one, you give yourself the option at least. You say, okay, look, we do have Trae Young, we got all these younger guys, we got good pieces right now. AD, because at the end of the day, I mean, if you sign him for what 3 year contract, he'd be like what 7 maybe or something.
Yeah.
I forget
Yeah.
exactly, but like you're talking about, he's getting up there then in age. So like, do you really want to do that? I don't know. That's something they look at. But at the end of the day, you give yourself the option. You can free up the cap space again and basically just re up with dumping some of those contracts like Chris Middleton's whatnot. Yes, you do lose 2 first rounders, which I think kind of hurts you there a little bit. But at the end of the day, if you are kind of pushing your chips into the table, if you will, a little bit and kind of wanting to win, I think this was a great move for him in terms of dumping some of those guys and getting good younger pieces as well as Anthony Davis. We know he's good when he's on the court. Obviously, it's tough because he can't stay there. So,
And that's the thing too, because it's like on paper, like Alex Sarr and Anthony Davis, yes, that is a good duo. But like, how often are we going to see Anthony Davis on the court? You know,
that's
I don't think if, unless you put him in some bubble wrap, maybe you might see him a little bit more. But other than that, like I don't, you know. And then Trae Young's had his injuries in the last couple of years. You know, he's been in and out of the lineup and things of that matter. So it's I don't know, two birds, one stone. We'll see what ends up happening here. So yeah, let's get into these trade grades.
Wait,
Let's
hold on. Can I
go ahead.
just
Go
one
ahead.
more thing? Forgot to add this too, but Nico Harris absolutely sucks. I mean, let me just say, good lord, did he turn Luka Doncic into nothing? I mean, my
You're
God,
not
he
even
got
there
nothing.
anymore.
He got nothing. You got Chris Middleton, Marvin Bagley, a couple first rounders that really probably aren't even that good. Like I forget what they are. They're not like great picks at all. It's like you're talking
They're
like a
late
30th
first.
pick from like yeah, okay, yeah. It's like so basically your first rounders aren't even first rounders. Like you did all of this trade for Luke, all this whatever, getting rid of him. You got nothing. So I just want to point out that thank God they got Cooper Flags. If not, man, that
Can
would
I
have been
say? Can I add on that? Can I add on that? And
yeah,
this will transition to like the team grades. I like it
oh
though.
yeah,
I like it because think about it though.
Jesus.
This is the same thing what happens with the Mavericks when they had when they started with Dirk Nowitzki, right? Terrible, okay, and you know you had some older guys and made bad decisions, but then you know you gradually got better and won the championship. Same thing with Luca, right? Luca came, bad team, right? Old Dirk came in, you gradually got better, made the finals, you know, then got whooped, right? Now you're looking at Cooper Flag and you're trying to do that same thing. So I like the mindset that the Mavericks are having, but it's just, you know, like you said, Nico Harrison just made a bad move, but I like it though. I do like the direction that they're going. I might be in the minority with that, but I do like, you know,
Well,
what they're doing
I could
and
say
seeing.
at this point, just forgetting about the look, all that, salvaging what you can. You're at least getting some. I mean, yeah, you're at least just saying, hey, we're gonna tank and we're gonna suck, and that's just kind of how it is. I
Yeah,
mean, you still got Kyrie though to deal like that's. I think it's still just terrible. It's like you're still like in this like middle ground. There's so many other teams I think that they genuinely are just joining the tank, but like they're just tanking, and so it's gonna leave
yeah.
them in such a weird spot anyway. So like, I I don't know. I just think the whole move just I understand it. Like you're admitting that you're tanking, you're kind of salvaging all that, but I mean, look where you were, and this. I mean, I just don't think it got you anywhere better, to be honest. I think you're just going to be joining the 76ers in the process.
Well,
And
it's
look where
gonna
they
come
are.
down.
That
It's
that
gonna come
process
down
is still going.
to the
But
draft
I
picks,
do
too.
think too, yeah, the draft picks. But I do think too. I know it's not Monday, and I know this isn't the time for Hot Take Mondays. But Jake, shout out Jake Rhodes. He just left a comment. I do think that Cooper Flag can be better than Luka Doncic.
I mean,
Yeah,
he is the future. That at this point, they just gotta bank on him being generational.
And I think he will. I think he will. What he's shown in the past, I think he dropped like 130 points in 3 games. Like, that's to be like the 1A guy. And he's played basically 1 through 5 all in this short amount of time, right through 40, 50 games in his rookie year. You know, he plays defense. He can score at any level, can do anything, can create for others. He's already got the pressure on him. I think already he's better than Luka. I'm gonna say now it's gonna take some time, but I think he can have a better career than Luka Doncic. I think so. I do think
Luka
so.
was dropping like 40-point triple doubles, 30-point triple double. He was doing like I
Who
was,
says Coop can't do that though? Who says Coop can't do that
the
though?
stats. He
I
had,
think.
yeah, I'm saying he's Luka was
Yeah,
doing it.
I know the stats. I know the stats.
Point
The
guard,
stats.
too. He's not a point guard.
That's true, but he can't. But he can't. He can do it though. That's the thing. He can do it. He can play point. He can play big. And you.
We'll
I
see. Like,
just.
they tried to play him at point guard at the beginning of the season. It didn't go too well.
It didn't work. You're right. You're right. I don't know. I'm a firm believer in Coop. I like Coop. I think he's gonna be a better fit for the Mavericks long term than he is with Luka. You know, that's just my. Like I said, it's not Monday. It's not hot.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Because we live.
telling
doesn't
me.
mean he can
You telling me that if Cooper Flag say like just say we're flash forward whatever, but now like Cooper Flag is starting off in those same shoes as Luka did, you saying that they would have basically won the championship? That's the only way you could have a better. I mean,
Yeah.
Lord Jesus,
I think so.
I mean,
I think so. I think because think about it. Let's say hypothetically you switch Luka. Let's take it back to the 2024 NBA Finals. Mavs Celtics. You switch Luka with Cooper Flag. I think that the Mavericks.
They get swept.
No. I think it's a 7-game series. No, I think it's a 7-game series right then and there. Why? Because you're giving one size to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then 2 defense. Right? The defense was the main thing for the Mavericks when it came to Luka Doncic because they kept attacking him, and then he complained about the foul calls and all that stuff. Go back and watch the tape. But I really think though that you have Cooper Flag instead of Luka Doncic on that team, they may win the championship that year. They may pull the upset off.
No
They've done it before. The Mavericks have done it before. I think they pull off the upset.
Not against that Celtics team, bro, because their backup point guard was like trash, bro. They had Jaden Hardy and someone else, bro. Like it wouldn't even matter because Luka was playing point guard, and it's like they had at the time they had to deal with Tatum, Brown, and Derek White all going off.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even have mattered about who was guarding Tatum or Brown. I mean, plus 2. I mean,
So that's what I'm saying. I think.
Luka was in like his 6th year.
Yeah.
I don't.
So that's what I'm saying. Who thinks that 6 years from now, right? So we talking 2032? Who says that 6 years from now that Cooper Flag can't be in this exact same position that Luka was in with the Mavericks team, but be better and get it done?
No.
Look, he definitely could. It's like he's like what 35. How many games are we in this? Like I mean,
And that's what I'm saying. It's early. It's very early. It's very early in the career. But I like it. I think that, like I said, it's not a hot take Monday, but I just had to bring it to the table. I like what I'm seeing from the Mavericks. Yes, everybody may not agree with it, but I do like what I'm seeing from the Mavericks and what they're trying to do. So, that leads into team grades. So let's move on. Let's get these team grades. So obviously, I mean, we graded the Mavericks, right there. The Wizards. It sounds like you guys. What's the grade? I'm giving them C plus, C minus. I just like I said, I already said it. The Anthony Davis and the Trae Young duo. It looks nice on paper, but the injury concern is a big thing. I just don't see. And then they're banking on of tanking the rest of the season and getting a top 8 pick. What if they don't get a top 8 pick? That's what I'm saying. But what if they?
That's why they got AD. He ain't playing. They're gonna tank. It's gonna be perfect. They don't even have to like.
I know, but who says Anthony Davis next year can't come back and say, my left eye now, out for 30 games? You know what I'm saying? It's all.
This is the process here.
I know. I understand.
I give him like a B plus because at the end of the day, they got rid of some of those other guys. They brought in just on paper, like you said, just better talent. We'll see what happens with it, but they have the option to kind of keep guys like D'Lo and Dante, and we'll see what they do, and how the pairing of Trae Young and AD works. So I give him like a B plus, almost probably A minus.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
I'd
A
probably
minus.
give him
Wow.
I'd probably give him like a B, just because I think, aside from the Anthony Davis thing, I think them getting Trae Young at such a discounted price was good for them. Uh, Regardless of how the rest of this season goes, I think he's going to be a good little building piece for them over the next couple years. But at the end of the day, too, it's the Wizards, bro. Like, they're not in a shot in a hell gonna ever make the championship. So
True.
let's
True.
be honest.
True. So let's talk this Jaren Jackson Jr. trade, right? So Jaren Jackson Jr. out of nowhere gets traded, goes to Memphis. Jaren Jackson Jr., John Conchar, Jack Landale, Vince Williams go to the Utah Jazz for Kyle Anderson, Walter Clayton Jr., Taylor Hendricks, and George Niang. 3 future first round picks, and I saw something that Memphis now has like 13 first round picks for the future. Utah, I give this a B minus. Why I give it a B minus? Because I like the addition of Jaren Jackson Jr. Right, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Walker Kessler, putting it together with if they decide to keep Lauri Markkanen, right? They're in this tank job right now, so they could possibly be another team that could get a top 10 pick or something like that, right? So you put that with Keontae George, maybe move Ace Bailey to the bench, right? You're looking at possibly being like a playing team in the Western Conference there. And also like their defense, you go from one of the worst defenses in the league to one of the best defenses in the league, and also Walker Kessler kind of I don't know what's the right word for it. I guess kind of cleans up what Jaren Jackson can't do on the defensive end, and vice versa. If you know what I mean. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. has some of that perimeter defense that Walker Kessler doesn't have, and vice versa. So I like the deal for the Jazz. Now the Grizzlies, I don't know what's going on in Memphis. We already talked about Ja and what they're trying to do, but for the Grizzlies, I have no idea. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. For them, I give that a C minus D plus. If I'm being honest with you, like you're trying to, I guess, move on from what you had going, but it's like what direction are you going in? Mind you, they got all these picks and stuff like that, so they're looking good, but I don't know. I just it's knick-knack for me. So
see,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
gave
'cause, like, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
I had the same grades as you, kind of. I gave the Jazz like an A minus, just because I do think being able to get Jaren for the price they did, yeah, you had to give up some of your young players, but the past couple years they've had like 3 draft picks every single season, so it's like at
yeah,
some point you're gonna have to choose between whatever guys you're drafting, and clearly they stuck with Bryce Sensabaugh or like some other younger guys they got, and I think going into next year, it's going to be nice for them to have that backcourt, the front court, I mean, of them and Kessler, keeping Laurie. But yeah, Memphis, it's like you're obviously going to tank, but what are you going to do with Ja? So I gave him a C minus too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like I liked that Memphis was like, okay, we're gonna move on. I just assumed both Jaren Jackson and John Morant, like they're gonna just officially tank. We're, acquire some picks and all this. When I just didn't really, like, I gave them like, B plus. I was like, yeah, this is nice. Like they're getting rid of all the guys, and then they just didn't really get rid of Josh. So it was like, oh, so it kind of reset me. So I put him back down like a B minus, C plus range right there. It's just like, if you're only gonna get rid of the one, what's the purpose? Like it just, like the rest of the season now is just gonna be weird. I don't know, but for the Jazz though, I like it. The only thing with them is just like what kind of Jaren Jackson you gonna get? Are we still gonna get this guy that's gonna be, defensive player of the year worthy? Because again, you did get rid of the three first round picks there, so you're kind of saying like, hey, we're ready to compete now, and so it's um, kind of putting your chips on the table there. So we'll see what's going on there, but I gave him a B plus there just because kind of curious to see how Jaren Jackson fits in there. Kind of see how they get down there, but at the end of the day, I think Jazz still need to like they're still in a group with a whole bunch of other teams where they still need to tank as well because right now they're not in a good spot where they're going to be competing even though they got Jaren Jackson. So it's like you got to just tank for even better draft pick, and then you'll be good to go from there, setting yourself up for the future. So yeah, that's why again I give it like that B plus there.
I like that. I like that. Let's talk. We mentioned the Pistons a little bit earlier, so let's talk Pistons. Pistons, Bulls, Timberwolves, three-team deal. Chicago Bulls trade away Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric. They then receive Mike Conley and Jaden Ivey. The Pistons trade out Jaden Ivey. They get in return Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric, a first-round pick swap from Minnesota, and the Timberwolves get cash considerations. When I saw this deal, I was like, oh, okay, they're trying to make some space to possibly get Giannis, but obviously it didn't end up happening. But for the Bulls, and I'll say about this now. What are the Bulls doing? Like, I don't even understand. What is Chicago doing? Chicago has like 7 guards on the roster. You have Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons, Mike Conley. Well, they got rid of Kobe White in Io, so I think it went back down to 7. But it's just like, and then they have no big man. They have zero. You trade your only big man in Vooch, and I don't think they have a player that's over 6'10". So it's just like, really really confusing to me of what they're trying to do. So for the Bulls, any other trade that we talk about that involves the Bulls, F. They're probably I didn't mention them in my losers earlier, but they get an F because what are we doing? I will say this slightly. I'm a Clippers fan, and I be feeling bad. People be feeling bad for me sometimes, and Clippers fans. Nah, I feel bad for Chicago Bulls fans because I don't think your front office has any direction in what they're doing. Because you had this team. Remember a couple years ago, like when Brooklyn had James Harden and Kyrie, the Bulls were right there, and they had Lonzo and Zach LaVine and DeMar, and they was 1 and 2 battling. Man, look how far they've came from that. Like the Bulls are just terrible. I don't know. To sell the team, sell the team, please. I don't know what the Bulls are doing, and then they don't believe in first round picks. Why is it that we don't believe in first round picks? How many second rounders in the NBA have actually had a career and been relevant longer than 4 months? So we're talking like from the draft, summer league, and then into the start of the season. Like very little, if any. Isaiah Thomas is the main one that comes to my head. But other than that, like there's been none. And so you have all these second round picks. It's gonna take you like 4 second round picks just to get a first. A first that's gonna be like 20 to 30, and it's doesn't make any sense. So Bulls, yeah, F. Pistons, I said that earlier. I give them a B minus, B plus. I like the Kevin Huerter deal. Dario Saric, I thought they were gonna try and flip him for something else. In Minnesota, you just get cash considerations, but they did end up making a move that we'll get to in a little bit later. So I don't want to give my grade for them yet.
Yeah, Bulls are
Uh,
just terrible though. I can't believe like do you count Josh Giddey as a guard? He's one
yes.
of
I
the
mean, yeah, yeah.
yeah they got 8 guards on their team right now because they just that was the last one was it Trey Jones or Ty whatever. or something. I forget.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
they have their tallest guy on the roster is 6'9". I mean, this is just insane what they're actually trying to pull off right now in the NBA. Yeah, they should be banished down to the G League for trying to do something like this because this is just insane. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Shaw, you said you liked. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't for the Pistons. I don't know if I was sold on getting rid of Ivy. Obviously, we know everything with his injury. Kind of last season was like, well, what if we had in the playoffs? Would it have been different? And then this year, we kind of, I don't know. I feel like we kind of just gave up on him a little bit. I would have liked a little bit more, maybe. I'm not mad. Obviously, I think Herter is going to help us in terms of shooting because we can't hit the broadside of a barn. But like, at the end of the day, I just don't know if I was officially ready to move on because I think he still has some potential. Just we never truly got to show it or see it really. Um, Again, I don't hate it. It's just one of those ones I was a little indifferent about it because again, I think there was some upside, but we all know like we didn't get to see it. Um, we were worried about it. We're asking about it. Could it have changed last playoffs? We don't know. And now I just like the what if we'll never get to see it. That's it for me. Really, I didn't have too many feelings about it though. Just kind of like was this the right move? I don't know. I guess obviously time will tell.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean we talked about it last pod with Grant, your hot take of Pistons making the finals. I think obviously it was a hot take, but I think we're already ahead of schedule. So I wouldn't necessarily say finals are bust, but this definitely helps. Uh, Next year obviously isn't promised, so you might as well try to make a move like this. I think it is a little bittersweet just because Ivy was kind of like a fan favorite at first. He's an explosive guard. We hadn't really had one of those in a little bit. Um, but I think if we're trying to really make a push for the finals this year, we definitely, like you said, need shooting, and this will hopefully help us. I think Herter's averages are a little bit lower right now, but I mean he was playing for the Bulls, so it's like he's not getting as good
yeah,
shots as I think he'll get in the Pistons offense. Um, Probably yeah, like a B trade. Um, but for the Bulls, yeah, I wrote classic Bulls. That court of doom, with how many guards they got. They got rid of Io, which didn't help them. Um, and they're eyeing another kind of like mid-tier lottery pick, 7 to 14 range. They're not gonna get a top 5 pick, knowing their luck, and they're just gonna be a mediocre team per usual. They might actually fall out of that little play-in spot that they're always in every single year at this point. Um, and team like Charlotte might move in, but yeah, the Bulls they're gonna be the Bulls. I mean, they haven't really been anything since Derrick Rose, so it's it is sad because they're kind of iconic organization. But yeah, they got to sell their franchise. The Reinsdorf, he's never gonna sell, but he needs to because it does not seem like the players they have are gonna do anything. I don't know what at this point. Why didn't you just trade? I mean, like Modest or like someone else? Because it's like what are
yeah,
you gonna develop him for the next 2 years just to trade him? Like these guys are kind of in a constant loop in Chicago where it's like you build your stock up a little bit just to get traded somewhere, uh, and go to a mid team. But I gave them a C minus,
you can go lower. Give him an
probably.
F.
Yeah,
Give him an F. Give him an F because this next deal. So right, they traded Vooch, second round pick.
yeah,
And then they got back Anthony Simons for another second round pick. Who trades who like what? Why are we swapping second round picks? That makes no sense.
Well,
Like, come on.
that's the other thing is you were talking about their second round picks. The Bulls can't even draft good players in general, let alone if it's in the second round. So like
Right.
it won't even really matter what pick they get. The amount of misses that they always have, it's like they at this point they're just hoarding second round picks, like you said. Um,
Yeah.
doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah. I don't understand. Who knows? So yeah, for me they get an F. But the Celtics, I don't know. I give them see, I'm torn on the Celtics. I don't know I've been thinking about this one for a little bit now too, and I want you guys' thoughts. But like, Vucevic obviously helps their problems, right? Because in the front court or whatnot, but they don't have like a backup point guard. They're right because they're starting Pritchard right now, who would be their sixth man. So to me, this move is more like they're banking on Tatum to come back, which is possible, but I don't know. Come playoff time, if Tatum doesn't come back, who's going to be your scorer off the bench? Or is Jaylen Brown going to be playing 48 minutes, right? So I don't know. I give them probably a B. I give them, that's what I wrote down. I wrote down a B. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening with the whole Tatum thing, but I just it's interesting. With that move and not having somebody off the bench to really score, because if you're depending on Ron Harper Jr. to score off the bench, then you might be cooked. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think they should have hit up the Chicago Bulls. They might have a guard or two. They could have. Yeah, I don't know. It did solve their problems, but the thing is, like, I don't know. I don't think I think they're just also performing a lot better than they thought this year. That they're just kind of caught them in like a weird spot. It's like we don't really need to go like do anything, but like I get the need to this year. It's like, shoot, if we can win it this year, it's like, I mean, obviously go do it, but I don't know. I was kind of indifferent. It's like, yeah, you could have brought in somebody, but like, does it make the most sense? It's got to be the right guy for it. And so yeah, I just went with like a B minus. Like, wasn't a bad move. It wasn't a great move. It was just just a move in general in my eyes for the Celtics.
Yeah. No, I agree. This is the one I might be rambling a bit, but let's talk about the Clippers. The Clippers trade James Harden and to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then the Clippers get back Darius Garland and a 2026 second round pick. And then while we're at it, I'll just get to it. Then today they traded Ivica Zubac, their center, to the Pacers, him and Kobe Brown, and they got Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, a 2026 first-round pick that is protected. And basically, if it's anywhere from 5 to 9, the Clippers get it. Anywhere else, the Pacers get it. I think it turns into like 2031. 2029 first-round pick and second-round pick. The Clippers, for me, they get like a C. Why do they get a C? Well, yes, the draft pick is, very high, right? And obviously they need a lot to happen come the draft lottery, for the pick to basically, it has to be in those 4 spots or they don't get anything. I thought it was funny because just this past week, if you guys watched, I gave my hot take of the Clippers are going to turn this around, and make the playoffs. Well, that lived for like 3 days. Like 3 days, and then they decided, yeah, we're gonna blow it up. I don't know like what the Clippers are doing, to be honest with you. There's one or two things. One, either Kawhi is about to get the gauntlet. He's about to get sent to the gulag, him and Steve Ballmer, after the All-Star break, or he's gonna sit out. He's just gonna be like, yeah, nah, I don't really want to play with them. I'm gonna sit out. Be like Stephen A. says, doesn't show up to work but still gets a paycheck. Yeah, I don't know. Darius Garland, can he stay healthy? We'll see. He's nice, good combo guard, fast. He's on the younger side, but can he stay healthy? Benedict Mathurin, I mean, he has his games, but the thing for me is he enters restricted free agency this summer. So how far, is that gonna end up happening, playing out for the Clippers? So yeah, that's what the Clippers get a C+ for me. The Pacers, since I brought that up, they get a B-. They get Zubac to play with Tyrese Halliburton next year, so the Pacers are gonna pick up right where they left off. Be this year gap, but I mean, they'll be set in stone With that core rotation that they have of Halliburton, Siakam, Zubac, Andrew Nemhard, Aaron Neesmith, those guys will be good. But yeah, I don't know. I was kind of upset to see Zubac go more than like Harden. But yeah, and then for the Cavs, the Cavs get a B minus, leaning towards C. Congrats on your second round exit. You just solidified it. That's all I gotta say on that. You're not. If anything, if you thought that this move was gonna help you win the East, then you're wrong because you have not been watching James Harden for all of his career. I mean, since Houston. Donovan Mitchell will give you 40. James Harden will do good. But if a series gets to Game 7, bet on the other team. That's all I gotta say.
It's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you forgot the big trade too. You forgot Chris Paul got traded to the Raptors. They sent his ass to Canada.
Yeah, and then they told him to stay home.
Got nothing back for that. Yeah.
They traded him to Toronto. They banished him to Toronto and then told him to stay home. Don't report. Yeah. They said, "Nah, we don't want you."
I think they must have seen your take on him because they're like, "Oh shit, we're winning too much. We got to trade everyone now." I mean, the only bright spot that I can really see from that is them getting those 2 first-round picks for Zubac. But I mean, Garland, he'll be nice, but yeah, like, can he stay healthy? And at this point, yeah, I don't even know if Matherin's going to re-sign there. I don't think they'll try to re-sign him unless he goes off. I gave him like a C minus. Cavs, can it be a move that pushes the needle for them in the playoffs or to just try to keep Donovan Mitchell? Like, I don't really know. I think Harden, obviously, he's going to help their offense. Defensively, not. But at this point, probably still a second round exit. I gave him a B. Not like
that's generous.
Anything crazy though. I mean, they needed to do something because I saw reports too of like I think Garland said he didn't really love playing alongside Mitchell. So I like it better than them trading away Mobley or
Jared Allen.
Yeah,
that's what they needed to do though. That's what they needed to do.
At least give it another couple months because if they would have gotten rid of them, then they wouldn't even have made the playoffs. I feel like they would have really slid down the standings. But at least now they're going to try to stay competent for the rest of the year. So, but yeah, Harden, I keep saying or seeing like this is a 6 team now. He's notoriously not done well in the playoffs, all this other stuff, but it's James Harden. He's still gonna put up some points for him. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting for them as a defense if he's gonna even be better than Garland is, who wasn't really doing anything either.
Yeah.
No. Sean, you're not gonna like this. The only reason I didn't give you guys an F, I gave you guys a D minus, was because you got 2 first round picks. I wasn't giving you a C minus. I wasn't giving you a C minus if you didn't trade Zubac, but the James Harden one, yeah, James Harden is just a cold-blooded dude. He doesn't really care about the team, the organization, doesn't care about LA. Like he said, he just wants his money. He wants an extension, and y'all weren't going to give it to him, so he was like, I'm out. So that was interesting. So I didn't really fault you guys too much for that, besides the fact that you got Garland, who, I mean, turf toe, I don't know, whatever he's got something going on. He can't stay out there. He's got a hand or something, too. He's got some shit going on, you know it. And then the second round pick, it's like at the end of the day, that doesn't move the needle for you guys. Before I get to the Zubac one, because I will cook you guys real quick. The thing I will say about the Cavs, really the only thing for them is it just raised the floor. It didn't do anything for raising the ceiling. They will still be a second round exit because of what Sean just said, the whole 9. They will be a great regular season team. They might actually maybe jump up to 1 somehow just because it's a regular season. You got both James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. But then come playoff time, bro, it's a if it's not second round, the furthest they're going, like I said, the floor is that's the only thing that's being raised, is the floor. They might make the conference championship, but at the end of the day, there's no
That's
shot
generous.
that they're making the finals. That's yeah, I think it's generous myself too, because I think they're a second round exit, but that's why I say the only thing it did. That's why I gave the Cavs at the end of the day. I agree with Nate. Kind of, I gave them a B. At the end of the day, like James Harden with the combo of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, the lob threats are gonna. It's gonna be different, you know. And so it does add a
Oh
new
yeah.
element to it. But we've already seen it, and I've cooked you for it. We've already gone down this road years and years ago. James Harden don't show up in the playoffs like that. It just doesn't happen. And so you put him with Donovan Mitchell, who also can't get it done in the playoffs. I don't know what type of recipe they were looking at, but nothing about this says they're going to win. So it's like I get it. At the end of the day, you are getting better. Like it definitely they did not get worse. They definitely got better, no doubt about that. Like I'm definitely taking Harden over Garland right now. But let's be honest, it's not getting the job done. And so yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Zubac though, I mean, Matherin's not even all. I mean, he's not bad. But dude, I spoke. I think I don't know if it was on the pod or maybe it was just you know conversations we've had at bars and whatnot, just sitting there. I think Zubac. I think he's really good. I think he's very like undervalued center in the NBA. And so you know, just seeing him. Obviously, got the first round pick, so that's I think that was kind of the biggest part of that, and then the other second round. So it's like, yeah, you're definitely getting something in return. So you have to assume that yeah, Kawhi is going to the gulag, like it's because that's got to be it. Because if not, like this that one makes no sense. I don't really think there's any purpose for getting rid of Zubac like that. I don't think he was the piece,
Yeah.
and I don't think Mathen was the piece to bring in if that was the case. Like it's just not. You're bringing in somebody that's not
Well,
as
like, what do
good.
they even do? Yeah, what do they even do in the off season now? Because it's like you don't really know what those draft picks are gonna land, and
Well, you're not doing
based
anything
on
for
the other guys,
yeah.
yeah, based on
Yeah, we're cooked. Lawrence Frank, you know, oh gosh, he has his thinking that we're just gonna get someone in 2027, summer of 2027. And I was like looking at it, and I was like, who are we gonna get? Because everybody's signing these extensions. I was like, who is we gonna get? So then I was thinking, I was like, this man is still trying to get Giannis. I said there is some way he's gonna try and flip this. I wouldn't be surprised if they flip this Pacers pick to try and get Giannis or some other star. That's what's gonna end up happening. They're not even gonna draft anybody. They're gonna get the fifth pick, and they're not even gonna draft anybody. They're gonna trade it to get somebody older because they just I don't know. And Darius Garland, he's probably gonna get shipped off too. It like it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I don't know why you would keep Kawhi Leonard on the books or just on the roster at all. Either he's getting suspended, like I said, either he's getting suspended or that man is magically just gonna retire. He's just gonna magically walk away from the game of basketball and just be like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to go anywhere. I played in LA. I don't feel like going anywhere. And yeah, I'm done. I'm giving up. So I don't know. Yeah, our starting center is Brook Lopez now. So yeah, that's great, spectacular. I really thought, and I texted Josh this last night. I was really thinking this is like maybe a delusional. I was really thinking that the Clippers were going to trade for Giannis because nothing had happened on the Giannis front. So I sent him a proposal. It was like John Collins, Derrick Jones Jr., Bradley Beal, Brook Lopez for Giannis Antetokounmpo and Thanasis.
You were giving
And
all
I thought it
all
could
the
happen.
Bucks accept that.
yeah, I was just saying.
Yeah, for Giannis,
Why would they want Bradley Beal?
Just money at that point. It was just money. It was just money.
Yeah,
but obviously,
yeah,
you know,
the
it didn't
contract
happen.
makes
But
sense. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't get your hopes up for Giannis. I'm sorry to say that.
No,
but
they got nobody.
It's probably not gonna
that's
happen.
not
For
happening.
nobody.
That's not
It's not gonna happen. So I don't know what the Clippers are gonna do. This is I'm glad the Pistons are finally good because yeah, I'm gonna watch less and less of the Clippers now and more of the Pistons like I have all year. So yeah, we'll end up seeing what ends up happening. We touched on the AD trade. we touched on OKC a little bit with the
Oh
trade
yeah,
for
wait. Yeah. Can I say something about that too? Because I know I
yeah,
mentioned a little
yeah,
bit about
yeah.
it. The Thunder acquiring Jerry McCain. I think that's again. It was just so nice for them to get rid of those. Some draft again. It was 3 second rounders. At the end of the day, they're still not losing the first round pick. They're getting their guy that can actually shoot the ball, which when he's healthy, of course, he just needs to get back out there. But um, that I wouldn't like be too concerned about that because at the end of the day, he's not going to go out there and be starting point guard, nothing like that. You just need him for the backup minutes. And honestly, I think it was actually pretty good for the 76ers too. I think it was just a great trade overall. Because at the end of the day, they're kind of looks like they're kind of going with VJ and they're kind of glued to him, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a stud. So I totally get that. So it's great for both sides. Like the Thunder, they're getting a guy with 2 years left on his rookie deal after this. Um, Getting a good backup point guard that can just go up there. All he's got to do is just basically spot up, shoot. He can drive. He can do that. So it's like honestly, I think this is one of like the most even trades in terms of both teams getting value. So I know I said Thunder won it really, but I think at the end of the day, Sixers didn't really like lose at all. I think um, they got exactly what they needed out of it too. They got some picks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
picks to send PED George out of there. That's what they that's what they doing. send him out of there. He's gone.
PD George, man, come on.
That's crazy.
I love
Yeah.
it though, man.
It was kind
Did
of
you
on
get?
the. It's kind of written on the wall. I feel like at the beginning of the season too, with how well VJ was starting off, like you could
Yeah.
kind of see that they were gonna go more with him over McCain. It's just I wrote down too. That's just kind of like another one man's trash is OKC's treasure now. It's like they're probably gonna develop McCain into some most improved player, 6 man of the year, something like that, something crazy. Um, but he'll be nice for them. I think it depends on how much he even plays because their bench is already so good. But next year, I mean, he's definitely got opportunity to kind of step in a little bit more. But yeah, I think OKC too is probably just they're just so smart and like making those kind of moves because you know I don't think any other team was gonna be able to do something with that those assets that they gave up for really compete with that. But yeah,
So I mean, there was some like other little trades. I don't know if you guys want to touch on that, but I do want to touch on the we talked about a little bit the Warriors and the Hawks. I don't think we gave grades though. So the Warriors D plus
Yeah,
because it
D
just makes no
minus.
sense. Like I don't know if they think it, like what do you think that like and I said this earlier, but what do you think that Draymond Green, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford is gonna do? Draymond Green is gonna get a tech, maybe kicked out of the game. Porzingis might play. And then you got big man Al out there, treading on his last days,
There's some
giving
ball
it all.
players
And
right there. Some rookie ball
I
players.
yeah, I was surprised that they did not get rid of Pods. I was so surprised that they did not get rid of Pods. I was just like, they at this point that like Dallas blew it up. At this point, I would have went to Dallas and be like, bro, just let me get Klay Thompson back. Let me give you Pods for Klay Thompson and call it a day. And just did that. So
they were
yeah, the
not going to accept
Warriors.
that trade. They do not want that.
Oh, the Mavs.
Yeah,
I don't know if the Warriors are even one. I
they'd
mean,
rather
I
keep
would,
playing at this point. No, I
I
mean
mean,
the Warriors. They're at this point. I don't know what they're doing either because the Kaminga trade. You could have at least gotten some draft picks. You trade them for Porzingis, who hasn't even played this year, and it's like the Hawks too. I
yeah,
don't know what they're doing. It's like try to get a draft pick or something out of Porzingis, at least a second round pick. Like I don't. You're just kind of trading two assets that aren't really gonna do anything for you. Um,
yeah. And here's the thing: I don't even think Kaminga is gonna last in Atlanta. Like
yeah.
I think he's gonna be out of there in the summer because it's just with
Well,
Jalen Johnson, like this is his team, and then you got Rich Shayer kind of coming back or whatever, and now it's like yeah, you add Jonathan Kaminga to that, and it's like where does he fit into that? So
yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I'm
We'll
curious.
we'll we'll end up seeing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the
no.
Hawks are just the Hawks are in a tough spot
Answer
to
this
be honest
comment
with
real quick.
you. Oh, we got a comment?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got
Are the Pistons better today? That's what they said. Are the Pistons better today? Fat Daddy
they're
10.
they're
I
better
don't
in the
know.
sense that they actually have
Yes, I
somebody
think the
out there
Pistons.
currently. Like you actually, Kevin Herter is a guy
Yeah,
that can actually play right now. It's not like the what if, because that's why I was saying with Jaden Ivey is like the well the what if like next year, this season, which obviously we're still finishing this season. We got a good chance to potentially get to an NBA Finals. So it's like yeah, take the shooting. Hopefully it works
yeah,
out for him. See what we can do in the off season and all that. But you did get a better. You have an actual shooter out there, somebody who can shoot the ball and who's not injured at the moment. So. Yeah, I'd say they definitely got better
right.
as of right this second. Long term, I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll end up seeing what goes on. Um, but yeah, no. You're talking about the Warriors. Yeah, we can scratch that. I said is so this helps them today and the future. I'd say like today, like yes, the future. I don't know, maybe, possibly. I think for the future, it more or less because you have the expiring contracts of Tobias and things like that, it gives you a little bit more flexibility. I know somebody said earlier they should have almost like 60 million in cap space next season because of all these expiring contracts. We'll see what end up the Pistons doing, but I would not be surprised if, especially if the Pistons don't win it all this year. I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm being a little negative with it. But if they don't win it all this year, I would not be surprised if we make an aggressive approach this summer and try to possibly enter the Giannis sweepstakes. I wouldn't be surprised. That could be something that could end up happening. Because you gotta think about it, all your first round picks, they're gonna be late first anyways. So you might as well. I mean, we touched on this last week. You might as well give them up, instead of sitting here hoarding them. Go ahead and give them up, and you don't gotta worry about them in the future. So
I don't know if Milwaukee's gonna trade in division though,
that's true. That's true.
because they were
So
saying the same thing with Cleveland potentially, and it's like I don't really think Milwaukee would just give their best player to team next door. But
yeah,
I agree with you. I think they're ahead of schedule, so even if they don't make the finals, it's gonna hopefully help them going into next year. Um, but I was hoping they were gonna do at least one other move. I think
yeah,
whether it was to try to help the bench out a little bit. I mean, Herter obviously he's gonna be a shooter on the bench. I don't really, I don't really know if it makes that much of a difference. He's probably gonna play that Malik Beasley role where he comes out on the bench, maybe finishes some games on the floor, but
yeah. I don't know. We'll end up seeing what ends up
maybe
happening
we.
because
Hey, I saw it. This is another thing. The Nets had waived Cam Thomas.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a
Maybe
little
look at him. I don't
interesting.
know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm not. I wouldn't want to bring him into Detroit. He's too much. He's too much ISO. But I don't know if we
no.
need that. I don't know. I don't know if he fits
Mm,
the. Trust me, he's a great like he can shoot the rock. He can do all this. He can get buckets, but I don't think he fits with what we're.
Yeah,
I
he's
think we
not
got a
really a
good team
spot
right
up.
now. Yeah, it's not really his game right now. I think the Pistons right now, it's like besides like all the other Detroit teams, I'm like, please make a move, do this, do that. Pistons, I was fine with really not doing too much. I like what we got. I don't think there was anybody drastically game changing for us out there. Besides, obviously, like if Giannis were to become like available, let's let's talk. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't think there was anybody out there like that. So I was okay with not really making too many moves right now. Just because again, at the end of the day, like yeah, Cam Thomas, he's nice. Like you see some of the stats he puts up. When he's in Brooklyn, it's just ISO ball doing whatever you want. It's the Wild West out there. We're trying to win championships over here. I just don't think
yeah,
that style is just not gonna. It's just not gonna blend well. I just don't think it's gonna work.
yeah. No, I agree. Uh, Before we move on, we got another comment. How does Triple J fit in Utah? Will he remain there? I know we touched on this earlier, but what do you think you guys who will stay there? I think yes, he will fit in there well because I mentioned he helps with the defense. Walt Kessler, so I like that fit that they got going on there. But will he remain there? I guess is a Good question.
I would think so. I mean, what you saw with him with Ja back in the days, like can he retain like the offensive side of things? Like because we saw when Ja would go down, like he was able to kind of carry it then, but will he be able to do that still? Kind of what pieces you're going to put around him? But like that's a player that I would definitely um, look to build around, put pieces around. Absolutely. So I would say the Jazz for sure should keep him. They got some good big men going right now. Their front court's looking pretty solid. The only thing with them that it's like I feel like they're putting a lot of eggs in one basket in terms of like Ace Bailey. I feel like they didn't really go after anybody else in the sense that I feel like they could have got some more guards. Kind of them not doing it, I would say, was just interesting because I mean Ace Bailey obviously he's good, but is he going to be the guy for the future there? I don't know. I just think they put a lot of trust in that. So curious to see how that goes. But obviously, like if he becomes a stud, like you got him and Jaren Jackson together, like two really young guys, like that's going to be it's going to be very promising.
Yeah. Well, and too, just the other night, a guy like even a guy on the bench, Collier, had like 20 assists. So like having him
It's going
be another,
crazy.
yeah, another guy that can feed Jaren, whether it be in the post or out on the wing, like he's gonna be a nice piece to spread the floor too. I think with the Ace Bailey stuff, depending on if they get another top pick this season, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up flipping him for even more assets. Because I mean, before they even trade or drafted him, there was reports that he didn't want to go to Utah, all this other stuff. So if they end up getting a top 5 pick and they draft one of these, higher prospects, they could either obviously keep him or move on to, another team with some other assets. But I think yeah, it seems like they're gonna keep Jaron. I mean, he's only like 26, so
Yeah.
they would probably have to be a lot to try to move him again. But I mean, for what they got for him, like had to give up, I think it was a great move for him. Um,
Yeah. All right, so let's do round robin. Last couple of these smaller trades that happened. Round robin trade grades real quick, and then we'll get into the big picture. Jose Alvarado goes to the Knicks. The Pelicans got 2 second round draft picks. What's grades for the Knicks and the Pelicans? I'll go Knicks. C. I mean, yeah, you get Jose Alvarado who brings you a little bit of defense, but they feel like they are a little heavy at the guards, especially when they had Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Brunson and things. Pelicans F. I don't know what Joe Dumars is doing. Just F. Just give him an
move the
F.
team.
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, I don't disagree though. It's not the Pelicans are really sorry right now. I mean, it's really bad over there, and they didn't do a lick really. Um, Alvarado, I don't know. I don't mind the move for the Knicks. Like you said, yeah, they're a little guard heavy, but I like what he's. I don't know. I think when the playoff time came, like I remember him having some really good moments and stuff. So it's a guy I think. At the end of the day, for the Knicks, you don't really need. There was nobody out there really besides Giannis, which they're always in trade talks, free agency talks with Giannis. So it's not much credit to there, but they did. There was nobody really out there for them, and so if they could, just getting a little bit better defensively with that guy, I think that nothing wrong with that. They didn't have to give up too much for him because Pelicans are just trying to tank on top of tanking. I don't know what they're doing. So them and the Bulls, just let's just get them on out of here. If we could send them off somewhere else, that'd be nice. So this trade didn't get me out of bed though. Yeah, didn't put too much mind into it.
Yeah, I for some reason I had notes on this one. I said Alvarado is gonna at least have NYC turned up from the bench because he probably won't play. Uh, but I like Deuce McBride. It's kind of sad to see him go. He obviously didn't, I think, live up to what the role he wanted to in New York. Um, Maybe he'll get some more playing or a little more touches in New Orleans, but uh, both teams, I don't think it really does a ton for him. So, if anything, the Knicks kind of get a little like energy spark plug. So probably give them like a B minus, and the Pelicans like a C.
Yeah, yeah. Lastly, we did not. My apologies. We didn't talk about you guys as Lakers getting New Kennard. New Kennard, Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent's out of there. I know you guys are happy.
Thank God.
It's a great day.
Gabe Vincent's out of there. Get New Kennard.
Yeah, every Miami
Yeah.
guard that's ever come to the Lakers has just been abysmal. It's just it hasn't worked. It's been painful to watch. It's like you see such good numbers on one side of the country, and then just actually no numbers. You don't see anything. See like do not play, do 0 minutes, this that. It's so that's phenomenal. I'll definitely be celebrating that one tonight. But yeah, it's a good day for Lakers fans seeing Gabe Vincent gone. So, um, yeah,
Man.
I know Nate's excited too. So I'll dish it over to him.
I and honestly, Luke Kennard, he'll probably either turn into the best player of all time or the worst player of all time. At least Gabe Cardio is gone, but the Lakers are still cooked. They're not going to do anything in the playoffs if they even make past the first round. But I don't know. I'm still kind of conflicted because it's like you have Luka. He's obviously a top 5 guy in the league. The whole LeBron thing is starting to get on my nerves a little bit because it's like he's saying stuff like, "Oh, I don't know if this is my last time playing in the Garden or playing at this arena or that arena." It's like, just tell us at this point. Like, I'm so sick of every week being like, is this LeBron's last game here, or is he gonna, he's talking about golf, all this other stuff. I don't want to be at the end of the season just like completely blindsided by him
You
retiring.
will. You
But
will.
it's also kind of like, I think for the franchise, he's not really helping them set up for the next season or future seasons, because it's like, not that they would trade him because they already said that he's planning to stay there, but at this point it's like, he's going to want a $40 million plus contract if he doesn't accept his player option. So what's going to go on with that? I don't know. They're at least, like, for now, going to stay competitive. But yeah, I'm just glad Gabe Vincent's gone. I guess yeah, we can celebrate that for right now.
Yeah,
Celebrating Gabe Vincent gone. That's always a win-win. And no, Grant, you hit it on the tail. Like, yeah, Miami guards. This is what, the second one? Yeah, because Kendrick Nunn. Now Gabe Vincent. Yeah. So
Kendrick
I
Nunn
feel
was
like there
a
was somebody
baller.
else.
yeah. I couldn't
Yeah,
swear there was a third.
yeah.
I thought there was a third. That's why, like, I don't know. Maybe not. But
I mean, you could say, and this is another thing, just real quick with the Miami Heat. Terry Rozier is on house arrest. Why didn't you trade him for nothing? Like, you're just letting him collect money, and you didn't trade his contract off. Like, his contract is tradable. It was tradable, and you just were like, nah, we'll keep him on the team. We'll give you them benefits, bro. Like, come on, man. You gotta get rid of that. So, yeah. So, big picture. This is basically the last segment of the trade deadline show that we're doing today. Big picture, essentially, looking at all of the trades and things like that. Is there anything that I guess moves you? This could be for this season. This could be for next season. A team that you see, the move that they made could possibly, basically big picture, do something in the future. I'll start. I have 3 players here. This is my big picture. 3 players that is kind of, I don't know what's going to end up happening. The first is Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks. Now, it was said after the fact, like, yeah, Kyrie Irving kind of wants to stay here, wants to play with Coop and things of that matter. I don't know how much truth there is to that. Once we get to the offseason, things could change. I I just don't see how Kyrie can be a part of that rebuild. Yes, he can like say that, but I don't see how he will be part of that. The second, Kawhi Leonard touched on this a little bit earlier, but what will Kawhi Leonard do? Will he get suspended? Will he retire? Will he just decide to sit out games? Or will he, kind of ask for a trade? We've seen it before. It's been a while, but back in San Antonio days, he did ask out for a trade, so we could get to the offseason this summer, and he could be like, hey, I see the direction you guys are going in. Let's get out of here. And then third, and this is kind of like teams. I don't really have any more players, but third, I have three teams for you: the Sacramento Kings, the Chicago Bulls, and the Brooklyn Nets. What is going on? What are we doing? For Brooklyn specifically, because you could have traded MPJ. You waived Cam Thomas, but you didn't trade MPJ. So that was a little like, I don't know what's going on there.
More shots
and
for MPJ.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he can take his 30 shots, a game now and not have to worry about, any assists. So he's good on that front. For the Sacramento Kings, what's going to happen, what's going on. I'm interested to see if DeMar DeRozan it does end up getting bought out in the next couple days here, and if not, what ends up happening. Russ, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, shout out to y'all, salute, go ahead and light the beam. And then the Chicago Bulls, I already said it, but I have to say it again. Chicago Bulls, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have 8 guards on your roster, and now you're going to finish the rest of the season, the last 30 games, with 8 guards on your roster, and one big man in Nick Richards. So good luck. Best of luck to you. You're gonna get if and I have to say this to anybody that's still watching too, and to you guys. Take any team that is playing the Chicago Bulls, their center, bet the over. Bet the over every single time on rebounds. I guarantee you will be a millionaire by the time the end of the season ends. You might just be. I mean, it's just ridiculous because they can't grab rebounds. So that's just a little tidbit for you guys there. But those are my losers that I have. Forgot to mention the most important loser, Chris Paul. Chris Paul, my apologies to you, brother, from Clippers, fandom. You are a loser because I don't know what you're going to end up doing. Hopefully now you just decide to, retire and ride off in the sunset. But yeah, those are my big pictures for the next couple of years here.
I mean, yeah, if Chris Paul isn't going to retire now after being banished to Canada, I think there's not too many harsher wake ups you could have than that one. So it's like, dude, you're a great NBA player. Let's hang it up. So I agree with you there. Cause I agree with a lot of what you were saying as well, Sean. But I'll highlight the championship teams, kind of what I would say, in the East and West there, Pistons and the Thunder. I think just the smallest move, I think, put them in just that much of a better spot. It's like the Thunder, obviously, they have a roster good enough to win it this year. I think the whole Jared McCain thing just helps set up a small piece for the future without giving up too much draft capital. Again, only 3 second rounders, not bad there. Pistons again for right this very second this season. Okay, it's like, yep, we're showing that we are actually trying to win this year, but we're not going to make any drastic changes in the sense that we're going to get rid of, to buy it, just unload everybody for this guy or this many picks or whatnot. We kind of kept it more subtle, and we just got something that we needed. We just got a shooter. So I think just kind of both of those teams, Thunder and Pistons there, quietly made some pretty big moves. Another team too, like I think the Jazz are setting themselves up pretty well for the future there in terms of just get a guy you kind of feel comfortable in. They're building a solid front court, and I think that they have some of the assets. They got some younger guys right now. They can have a pretty solid backcourt as well, and kind of continue to build for the future there. So I really like the move there. Again, getting rid of a couple of first round and I think what 2 or 3 second round. I think actually, not too bad at all. Definitely the Jazz, and then I want to highlight those two teams, top teams in the East and West.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I kind of agree. I think the standings probably won't change a ton after the deadline. Um, maybe there's a couple teams in like the play-in spots that might drop, but some of the moves that were kind of like smaller for me, I think like the Celtics getting Vucevic, does that actually make them like are they really going to try to have like some championship aspirations now? Actually, kind of having a real center. I don't even know if he'll really start. You would think he would, but Kata's been kind of doing all right for him. Um, and then another move that I liked is the Timberwolves getting Io Sumo. I think he's going to be sneaky a guy who's going to help them with their defensive presence too. Just because obviously their point guard position was kind of lacking, or at least backcourt was lacking defense. I think if they can lock in defensively and then Ant can stay hot on the offense side of the ball, they might be a team that could actually make a little bit of a push if they play in the playoffs against like the Rockets or, Nuggets or whatever these top teams are. But yeah, Sean, too, what you said, like some of these teams, Miami, Atlanta, Golden State, like mid-tier teams, I don't really know what you're doing. Because it doesn't seem like you're gonna win the lottery, but you also didn't fully like blow it up. At least Chicago tried to blow it up, but they just did a terrible job at it. Um, so
Terrible job and got a whole bunch of second round picks
yeah,
for it
a
as
whole bunch
well.
of second round picks that aren't gonna turn into anything. But at least they got rid of some of their guys. I don't know. With some of these mid teams, it's just gonna be hard next season to actually like build onto the future because the guys you got rid of, whether it be Kuminga or Kobe White or any of these guys who were kind of like solidified on their team, now it's just gonna take you a couple more years to build up the rookies you have or whoever it may be, and there's the teams that whether the Bucks actually get rid of Giannis and send him somewhere. I mean, if he goes to the West, like we've been talking, if he goes to the Spurs or the Wolves or any of these teams, like the East is just going to get even worse. So there's going to be less of a shot for teams to actually make a real push. But the All Star game is what in a week here or something like that. So
Yeah, it's
once
gonna be
that
terrible.
happens, like yeah, I'm not too like hopeful that a lot of these teams that made deals they're gonna actually like do a ton more after for the rest of the season in terms of like making their standings better. Maybe Cleveland gets a little bit better with Harden. Um, maybe they can jump a team like Boston, but it's like I think those top three teams in the East are pretty set.
Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like that's Cleveland might get a little bit better just because again, it is the regular season. We know what those two guys do, so who knows? But the East is just the top two. I mean, like us and the Celtics, I think, are just simply better. Honestly, um, that's kind of where my stance is.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think I like and Nate you mentioned too. Like I think some of these teams like that made deals. I don't think it's gonna come to anything of fruition. At least this season, maybe next year, but I don't think too much is gonna end up happening. And then like I forgot to mention like these teams like like Utah and Washington like they're teams at the bottom that kind of made moves that kind of I guess sped up their timeline a little bit, and kind of helps them, I think, in the long term. So it just makes it even more harder for like those teams in the middle, like the Miamis and like Chicago that didn't do anything. Like you're only gonna drop, more. Like if you think you're gonna move up after making some offseason move or signing someone, like no, you're probably right because right now you're like two steps behind. Especially if like the Wizards get like a top 5, top 6 pick, how many more steps are you behind? So yeah, the trade deadline is always interesting just because of what does end up happening and who ends up getting moved and everything like that. But I will say it didn't live up to, I guess, last year's trade deadline. I feel like there was a lot more star power, I guess, in last year's trade deadline than this year's. This year's was kind of, I guess, more from what I saw of teams trying to get from, under the apron with the new CBA laws and stuff like that, like teams moving money around to try and make moves for the summer, and they wouldn't be penalized or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see. I haven't looked too much yet into who this free agency class is going to be, but it's not too exciting. And most of the guys that are free agents are probably going to end up re-signing, with these teams or, maybe going somewhere else. So, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening here. Like you said, trade deadline's over now. But All Star break is next week. Yay, I guess for that. And shout out Jalen Duren though for participating in the slam dunk contest. I might tune in just for him. That's the only reason why I watch the slam dunk contest, just because of him. Other than that, I do not care. And the All Star game, I may tune in, but it's I was watching real quick. I was watching. Actually, Draymond Green said this, and this is one of the things that I did agree with Draymond Green about. He was like, why are we having G Leaguers in the All-Star game, when it's guys that are actually deserving of an All-Star, like a rookie, sophomore, things of that matter. And it's like, these guys are working their tails off, actually playing in the league, and actually playing against these stars and everything and, deserve these accolades. But no, they're not getting it because we got to have so many G League players in it. And, I do agree, with what he was saying. Basically, just, I understand, like, the G League, yes, is a development league, but now, like, the landscape of how the NBA is changing, like, money-wise and contracts, and then you got college, where guys are, like, 28 years old and still playing in college ball, and now you got, high school in some sports, where they have this whole NIL deal, and who knows, in a minute you're going to have some 25-year-old enrolling in your local high school, and that's going to be a whole different thing, so it's just really weird, I feel like, you got to keep, the NBA, don't try to, switch things up or, try to make it more exciting or anything like that. It's the same thing, with the NFL, like the NFL making the Pro Bowl on a random Tuesday night and it's flag football and no one watches it or anything like that. That's honestly, if the All-Star game for basketball ends up, it's going to end up on that same trajectory in a minute where they're going to make it on, instead of having it on Sunday night, they're going to make it, let's have it on a Thursday night, and just, have them go out there and play out there. Let's play 2-on-2. And it's just going to end up being really weird. And I feel like, I don't know if it's the players or if it's Adam Silver or what it is exactly, but I feel like they just need to go back to how it was. And I don't know. I feel like Kobe and Jordan maybe need to just, RIP Kobe, but maybe somebody like Jordan or Shaq or somebody needs to get on the court and lace them up and maybe tell these guys how to take care of this, and play it right so, the viewership and fans can get involved in things of that matter. So, yeah, but that's my little tangent on All-Star
Well,
game,
they
things
did the
like that.
same thing too with they essentially made the USA team. It's like the young team versus the old team, and you got
Yeah,
KD, Steph, and LeBron on one team, and then all the young guys on the other team. And it's like it's not. You already know half the people are only going to want to watch the stars,
right. Right.
and
And I
it's
found it odd, too, that they put Devin Booker on the young team, but they put Donovan Mitchell on the old team. And I was like, shouldn't that be reverse? Like, shouldn't
yeah.
Donovan Mitchell be on the young team and Devin Booker on the older team? But who knows, So it just, like I said, it's going to come to a point where like for football, like NFL, like Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything now. It's like, ooh, like you got that award. It really doesn't mean anything. It's gonna end up being like this soon for the next couple of years for the NBA All Star. It's not gonna mean much anymore just because, it's nothing to you guys, but it's just the fans, and it doesn't mean much just because the people higher up are making it worse and worse every year. So, yeah. Anything else you guys got to add before we close out today's show?
I don't think I got a lot. It was fun. I mean, the deadline was fun. I am disappointed that Giannis didn't get traded or job, but I guess that just adds to more stuff we can talk about for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it'll be good to talk about that now and and in the summer.
Perfect time
So
to
Grant's
wrap
gone. Yeah, Grant said, "Yeah, I got nothing." But yeah, appreciate everyone that came into the live, man, and tuned in. Appreciate your comments and everything like that, man. We'll definitely have to look to do something like this in the future. Do like I mean, they don't have playback anymore, but maybe like a game or something. Watch a game and do like a live show. That'll be hype. We can do something. But yeah, if you missed the live, you can catch it. It will be on YouTube, so make sure you go ahead, check that out. Like, subscribe, leave your comments, and we will catch them on the next episode. But until then, we will catch you guys next time.
But